Hi, friends. We're so glad you're here. The Big Ideas podcast exists to empower the next generation of entrepreneurs. Join us for unscripted conversations while you're at home with your kids or even just driving them around to activities. We hope these short but powerful messages will give you inspiration and encouragement for your next big ideas. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We are so excited about today's podcast, which I guess I do say that at the beginning of every episode, but today I'm like so for real because some of our very best friends are on this episode, and I just know the value that they're going to bring to the show. I know the heartstrings they're going to tug on, and you're just going to run out of this episode just like, oh my gosh, I can do this. Those big ideas, I can totally do it. And these girls are just fire. And I'm just so excited for you to hear firsthand from them. I've got some really fun questions that I'm just like ready to hear from myself. But let me tell you who you're listening to before they hop on. So Seth and Eileen Fluke are some of our very best friends. We've been friends with them for like close to 2 decades at this point, maybe even a little over that. I'm not going to do the math, but just they're incredible friends, but they're incredible business owners. They're doctors. She'll get into that, some of their background there. But they live here in the Atlanta area and just hugely successful with just all the right heart, all the right mindset. They are here to serve others in like such a big way with everything they do. And they're teaching that to their daughters, Brooklyn and Selah, who are here today with us too. And it's just incredible to see the family legacy just coming full circle and seeing just the heart and the passion with which their girls grow their business. And they're going to get into some of that. So without further ado, Eileen and Brooklyn and Selah are here today. So why don't you guys hop on and say hello? Tell us a little bit about your family, your background, kind of what you have going on right now with your family businesses.
Yeah, well, hi, everyone. Hi, Ashley. Thank you so much for inviting us. We're very honored. I'm Eileen, mom of these 2 girls that I am very proud of. This is
Selah and Brooklyn.
And Selah and Brooklyn are in business with us. Brooklyn is just turned 12 and Selah is almost, oh my gosh, 11.
Yes.
And so, yes, like you mentioned, Seth is my husband. By profession, my background is in sports medicine, physical therapy, and also I'm a chiropractor. Seth also is a chiropractor, and we have 3 offices up in the Gwinnett area. And would you ask me how we got started in business? Yeah. Well, honestly, I just knew I wanted to serve the community. By my experience, I had gotten hurt. And then somebody took care of me by chiropractic, a profession I did not even know anything about. Long story short, we met some other people that were chiropractors and they just took us under their wing and asked to be business partners with them. So we were very blessed by the business partnership that we have had. And that's how we have grown just organically through our 3 chiropractic offices. We don't advertise it. We just have grown through relationship building through the community. Honestly, we didn't advertise because we didn't really have a lot of money back then. And our advertising was us and our staff and just building relationships. So we are celebrating, almost 19 years in one office. I think it's almost 15 in one and 13 in the other. So I'm fortunate enough now to stay at home with the girls and run those 3 offices and be like an HR department and just whatever the girls need for staff purposes and support Seth and all his needs there. He practices 2 to 3 days a week. So that is us.
That's amazing. It's so true too. I love how you said, your business and your profession came out of a need, like you found yourself in a situation where you're like, I need help. Chiropractic helped me. And I mean, I just love that passion is what turned you, turned your mindset and turned your whole career towards something else that could help other people, I think that's awesome. Yes. I actually didn't know that you were hurt when you discovered chiropractic. It's a fun fact for our friendship.
Yeah.
Brooklyn and Selah, I think it would be super cool if you girls would tell us kind of the story of Sassy Sisters. I don't even really know if I know how it came about, like what gave you the idea originally. and like how long you've had your business, kind of how it's gotten started, and I don't know how you run it on a weekly, monthly basis. I think a lot of the listeners would love to know like day in the life of elementary, middle school aged students who are also growing a real business year round. Like, I think that's awesome. But start small. Just tell me like how it got started, what inspired you to do it. Like, what is Sassy Sisters? Like, what is your product? What do you guys do?
Okay.
Well, in the beginning, we sold cupcakes at our first Kids Entrepreneur Day, and we really enjoyed doing that, and we sold artwork too. And then a couple years later, Sayla got a rubber band kit, like the bracelet making kits, and we learned how to make them, and we started making them, and then we were like, this is actually really fun, so we decided to start selling them, and we sell them just for fun, and then we really liked doing it, so we did it some more, and we would sell them at my mom and dad's chiropractic office. And then we were asked to be in Flower Girls in a wedding, and we were like, we asked the bride if she could get any bridesmaids gift, and then she's like, and she wanted some, so within a few texts, we sold about 50 bracelets to the whole wedding, so yeah.
Well, that's good.
Can I have, do you guys remember, we were talking about this, and then it jogged my memory because I totally forgot. Yeah. Was your business always Sassy Sisters?
No.
What was it when we first went to the Kids Entrepreneur Day? What was it called?
Cupcake, cuties, and crafts, something like
that. Oh yeah. I bet I've got a picture with your first banner. I should find that. That would be fun. I
totally forgot that.
Cupcake, cuties, and crafts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
they sold artwork there. Yeah, I totally forgot. That was kind of fun.
I remember that. Well, for the listeners who can't see me right now, I am a big fan of the Sassy Sisters creations. I was pulling out my jewelry drawer to see like, well, how many bracelets of theirs do I own as of today? And I have 17 that I wear personally, and obviously not all on the same day. I try to do them justice and pair them the right way. But yes, I have 17 of their beautiful beaded bracelets, and they probably have come a long way from the very first, you said, a rubber band kit that you guys started with. Well, I love the progression of any business, but when it's inspired by y'all at your age, I just think that's incredible. It's incredibly inspiring. So I know you do a lot like during the year. I know you're like, you mentioned the bridesmaids gifts. I know you've done stuff with like one of your school's fundraisers. So what does it look like for y'all to like plan and, strategize what you're going to do? I know you take that really seriously. So like, how do you plan what you need? How do you find time to make your jewelry? So I know you're very involved with your school and your community, with your parents' business. So tell us like, how do you prioritize the time and make the time to keep your business going year round?
Normally every week on a Wednesday, say I was doing piano, Brooklyn would do bracelets for the 30 minutes while I was doing piano, and then we'd switch. Oh, wow. And then over the weekends, normally when we wake up, we'll get our bracelet stuff out and we'll make bracelets in the morning as well.
Wow. So a little bit every day, not every day, a little bit every week. You've got like some dedicated time for it. Way to go. That's awesome. That's really, really cool. One of the success habits is just a little bit here and there. It adds up, right? It's one of my favorite things is like, use what you have, even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's 30 minutes, it'll all add up. It'll all make a difference. That's awesome.
Watching the girls through this, obviously, we're very proud of them. And, I have to remember as a mom of a business that they're still kids, right? And I still have to navigate. You talked about when they do it. It's not always going to be every week, but they realize it is theirs. And I would like them to elaborate what they've learned, because the dynamic that they have is really cool. When one is falling short, the other one is like cheering the other one on, because we don't, tell me what y'all said. We don't always like to do it, right?
Yeah.
Can you share with them what you told me about, like, what did y'all learn And what is the most, what's the biggest thing y'all learn about being a business owner or just about yourselves and having to work through this?
You really have to take time if you want to go far in your business, and you need you also like if you're working like with other people, you need to have good communication. Like Brooklyn said, you need to have good communication, and if you're starting something, always have a good attitude about it, and don't make it like it can be easy, but then you can also make it hard, and you always want to have a good attitude while you're doing it.
Yeah. So I'm curious because I know you, I know both of y'all, and I know you both have very distinct, different personalities. So do one of y'all do like one kind of specific thing, and the other one does something more specific, or do you just kind of like divide and conquer and just like whatever needs to get done gets done?
We usually divide and conquer, and we just kind of like design the beads and bracelets like together and stuff, and like we ask each other for opinions.
Mm-hmm.
But normally we'll set aside some bracelets beforehand, like on one of our open days. We'll put like bracelets with like accent beads or charms, and then we'll put it in a little bag, and we'll maybe put a little sticky note, and then we'll just always have them prepared for whenever we have like a quick second to do one or two.
Okay. I love that. So have y'all ever gotten in a fight over like, that looks terrible? No, you're not doing enough. Like, I mean, you are sisters. So I feel like that's a fair question. And I'm not trying to ask you to throw each other under the rug, but what would you guys say to that? Has it always been roses, or have you had some times where you're like, I just need a break from her,
Well, sometimes we do kind of like one of us like doesn't like the design of like a bracelet, and then the other one does and stuff, but usually we just like try to figure it out, and sometimes we do like feel like one person does more than the other, but we always try to make up for like if one person does more one day, then we try to choose the other person, like one of us would try to do more another day too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think realizing that other people have taste, so they do create things that they not necessarily like, but I like, and so I think for Brooklyn, it's been a stretch to let me design something that other people like that she may not think is her favorite, so that's been stretching her. Auntie Ashley asked me the other day about why do you do it the way you do, like start to finish, or why are you particular about how you execute your beads and stuff? Can you share with her?
Because we don't really like if we like make a bracelet, and we want to make sure it's like good. We don't want to like give them a bracelet and then like break the next day. We want to make sure it has like good quality, and we like to take time so that people really do enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, Eileen, because that is one of I would say from my perspective and from feedback that I've gotten from y'all's business, especially at Kids Business Day, but even like I said, I've bought several of your bracelets to gift to other friends. And I would say hands down, the biggest feedback and comments that I get for y'all's bracelets is, and even your setup and your displays at Kids Business Day. I mean, you guys have won awards for best display, multiple years. So it goes without saying that you guys bring this like level of excellence that a lot of people can learn a lot from. I mean, it stretches me to be like, wow. I mean, from not just the beads and your the bracelets themselves, but your displays. I know you do pop-up shops at different events in your parents' business, but Kids Business Day. I mean, there's just a level of you like elevate everybody else's experience from how serious and how dedicated you are to not just your product, but to your whole brand. Like you've created a real brand that has turned heads. It's caught attention of other business owners, adults and kids. And I think it's amazing. And I would love to know, like, how did you learn that? What inspired you to do that? Are you constantly getting more inspiration?
Well, usually like we learn it from our mom, and and it's like for the designs and stuff, we like to like look at what other businesses and like stores have, what they do, and they try to like get some inspiration about like how they do it, and we like to make sure, because we don't want someone to have something that's low quality, then they probably won't buy from you again.
Right.
You want to make sure that you want them to come back too. Yeah.
When you guys were telling me about that, and I had asked you about standards or whatever, Sailor, you were talking about communication. Is it always verbal?
No.
It's also shown how?
In your actions.
Through how you deliver your bracelets and how you set up your design, because it's a collective effort, right?
Yes.
And how you give your products. It's not always just in the delivery of your bracelets, right? And so we talked about that. It's something that they continue to work on, which I love, because they go into boutiques and say, oh, look at this setup. Can we mimic that? And so then they walk around the house and see what they can use for their designs, which I love, because then they're using their creativity. And so the biggest thing that we teach is communication, as like Sayla was saying, is it's not always verbal, but it's always in the actions that come out in their artwork or how they package and things like that. Can you share with her, why do y'all continue to do the business even though it's hard and you guys get frustrated?
Because we continue to do the business because we know when people receive their bracelets that it makes them happy, and it just feels good to do something for someone else.
I love that. Yeah. Well,
have you had people ask you, Brooklyn, about your business or them wanting to start a business? You have several friends at school.
Yes, I've had several friends like ask me about my business, and they're always like, "Oh yeah, I like making them, but I'm always just so busy, and it's kind of hard to do something like that."
So you're inspiring friends, but they are also not maybe willing to overcome the excuses that y'all have overcome. That's fair to say, right? I mean, that's the business world. Everybody's got great ideas, but everybody's got to overcome stuff. And so I love that you guys have figured out how to overcome the time, the learning, all of it. I love that. I mean, there's always more to learn too, but y'all are on such a great path for life skills and just the time management and just that mindset of having a solution mindset and knowing like if this brings me joy to make it and it makes somebody else happy to receive it, like that's such a win-win, you know? Hey friend, I wanted to take a quick pause to ask if you've taken the quiz yet to find out what type of dreamer are you. It's super important to discover what's working for you, but also some things that may be keeping you from really pursuing your greatest purpose. It takes just 2 minutes to find out if you're the skimboarder, the sunbather, the sandcastle builder, or the surfer babe. So jump over to dreamerquiz.com and be sure to share your results and tag me in it. Now back to the show. I love that. I mean, even from like, for me personally, my experience with y'all is, I mean, you treat me very professionally, even as a family friend. I mean, y'all leave me voice memos, the packaging that everything comes in. It's so professional. I mean, it's, like I said, it blows me away. It stretches me because I'm like, oh my gosh, do I do everything at this level of excellence? I mean, I got to keep up with y'all. It's amazing. All right, so let's talk about what you've learned. I know we've kind of gotten into it a little bit, but specifically from watching your parents like grow their businesses over the years, you guys have had a front row seat to, you know, their chiropractic business and everything else that they've been doing. I mean, they're creative and giving in every respect. So maybe tell us some things that you've learned, Brooklyn and Sayla, from watching your parents over the years grow their business.
One of the things that I've learned is that, like I said earlier, that you always need communication, especially when you're working with a team or as a staff. Like, you all need to communicate with each other, because just because it may make sense in your head doesn't mean it will make some sense in someone else's head.
That's right.
Yes.
It's different personalities, right?
I've learned yet that, like, when working, like, you need to know how to work well with others so that you guys can, like, get along.
Yes.
Yeah. Execute better, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
That's it?
That's it. Just one thing. Two things.
Well,
yeah, it's always different when you're put on the spot. What's everything you've ever learned from watching your parents, you know?
Right.
Well, Eileen, I'll flip it back over to you. So why is it important to you and Seth to teach entrepreneurship to your kids? You know, why does that matter to y'all?
Mainly to have the freedom of owning a business, knowing that they can be in control of their future, their time. We were just talking about that the other day, that I was going into a meeting and Sayla was like, are you not going to be home from work? I mean, home from when I get home from school. And I realized that's something that they realize that I can control my hours. And so I wanted the girls to know that it's their business. They can control how much they can do, when they want to do it, their hours, all of that. And, not to completely rely on somebody else on their future, and their finances. And so, and also just to learn responsibility. And what she said, communication, learning. I mean, sisters, family is hard. We do it as a business. I do let them run point on their bracelets, but try to teach them, how to run the daily operations and things like that. So I want them to learn, just the ins and outs of how behind the scenes things, like when they go into a boutique and they're like, yes, I want these 5 bracelets, but understand they may not sell for, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, understanding about, going into debt first before getting any, recovering from any of that and making any sales. So a lot of different things is what we wanted to teach them. But at the end of the day, I still need to remember that they're still kids, right? And their level of understanding is only so much, but it is so wonderful to see their level of understanding is also so great when they just watch or they hear us in conversation. And so one thing that really struck me is that they have asked to sit in the staff meetings. They have asked to listen to audios that we have listened to because Sayla said a key thing to me. She goes, why are you telling the staff the same thing that you were telling me? She goes, they're grown adults. Shouldn't they already know this? And so I was like, which of course we went into the whole communication thing. So I wanted them to be more equipped. How's that for the future? And just know that there's better use of their time and their talents, through a business. So,
yeah. It's like one of those things that I don't know. I think about this a lot with my kids, like, are they getting it? We were talking about this the other day, Eileen, right? Are they getting all the good stuff? Like they see everything. So they see the hard parts. They see the big decisions that, we might be like weighing for several days, weeks even. And they see like the weight of some of those heavier, harder things that we have to go through. But then they're also getting the front row seat of all the rewards, and like you said, the freedom, like they see that we determine our schedule every day. They see that we determine where we spend our time, who we spend our time with, and for me, I'm like, it's an obvious win. Like all day we'll go through the hard things to get to the other side of that and have those options as entrepreneurs. But you're like, but as my kids, like, are they getting that stuff, And so I think a lot of it, even if they can't like process all of that now, I'm very prayerful. I know you are too, of just like, I know they're getting it, And I think only time will tell, but I think especially for your girls who already are displaying and demonstrating such high character and high execution and just expectation for where their business is going to go. They have a business, number one, but they've learned so much that they're probably not even aware of at this point, that as they get older and they've got more businesses and more opportunities, they'll just automatically know. Like it's so automatic. It's like they don't even know what they know because they've been immersed in it their whole life. Everywhere they look, they've got great examples. And so I think it's incredible what y'all do, but your example and what you've taught is so intentional and so it's so proven with what Brooklyn and Sayla are already doing. I think it's incredible. Well, let me ask you guys my favorite question. I love the variety of answers I've been getting as we've been interviewing more friends, but if you could say the top trait or the top characteristic, even the top habit of the makings of a successful entrepreneur. Like if you had to say to be successful in your own business, you have to be blank or you have to do blank. What would you say? Like, what would you fill in the blank with?
You need to, like, if you want a successful business, then you need to be able to put time into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I would say I agree with Brooklyn, and then I'd say you always want to have a good attitude and communication.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, attitude is everything. I mean, if you show up and you're just expecting it to be a bust, I mean, be ready to,
Right.
be really bummed. So,
Yeah.
attitude is,
I asked this the other day, and I think Brooklyn's answer was, you gotta want to show up for yourself, right?
So good.
And like she said earlier, like if you don't want to do it, then why are you doing it? Because there's a lot of times I think I can say this because we've had this conversation, but there are a lot of times where Brooklyn very much displays, I don't want to do this today. Like my creativity is shot.
Yep.
Like Selah said, your attitude affects everybody else, and the way you show up is important. So they have learned, and we have all learned that today's not the day. Maybe we just, if we're stretching our creativity, today's just not the day. Because if we push it, it's just not natural or organic. And so sometimes I have to refresh and step away, and it's like, let's come back in an hour or so. And so we're still learning the discipline of doing it every week. Sometimes it's, the weeks are kind of messy and we don't get a chance, right? But learning to work together and communicating and coming with a good attitude. So I love that. Good job.
Anything else you would add to it, Eileen? The makings of a successful entrepreneur?
I think every parent who has kids that are have goals and dreams, it's very cool to watch the sidelines, right? And how it stretches me, and how they do sit there. And we went on a trip, and they were like, okay, let's while we're sitting in the car and doing nothing, let's write down, what is our boutique going to look like? What's our bakery going to look like? And I love that. And it's not something that comes from me, but something that when they go to these festivals and they go to these other privately owned businesses, they look to see the ins and outs. And I love that they are learning from other business owners, especially you all, not just because we're on your podcast, but I show them a picture about you all doing the podcast, and they're like, that's really cool, and they love promoting the business day. They love promoting that y'all have a golf cart business. So I love that they are around other people that stretch them more than I think that they get it, and we're around the whole world of business owners, but I love how they see it through their eyes. And then they say one thing to me that I'm like, wow, they really get it. And so they stretch me with their goals. Their big goal in the future as they get older is
to own our own bakery and boutique.
I love that. Well, I will definitely be there because I know y'all can bake, and I'm clearly a big fan of what you create. So that's amazing.
Well, we are so excited to have been on today. I appreciate talking to you, and you guys are a stretch for us, and just love being with you guys and being great friends with y'all. You stretch us.
Yeah, this has been amazing. I have so enjoyed this conversation. I've so enjoyed what y'all have given back to all of our listeners. Like I said at the beginning, I knew that this was going to be just chock full of y'all are in it. So it's not like, well, one day I think it will take this. No, you're like, this is what it's taking today because we're doing this today. And yesterday was Wednesday. And we did this at piano practice, and it's amazing. Like, it's just, there's nothing like hearing from somebody that's in that fight or in that just process of growing and stretching and figuring out what really makes you tick. And it sounds like making other people happy, bringing joy and smiles to other people is that. And that's just never going to get old. Like, that's going to keep you going for a long time. And that's real. Like, that's amazing. So I know everybody that's been listening has gotten so much out of this. I for sure have. And like I said, we look forward to having y'all back. You are definitely some of our favorite kid entrepreneurs. Brooklyn and Selah, y'all own my heart. And so, yes, this has been an absolute dream. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again for listening, friend. We would love to hear what is really speaking to you in today's episode. It means so much to us, and we would love for you to take a screenshot of you listening to our podcast, share it on Instagram and Facebook. Definitely tag me in it so I can reshare it. Our kids especially really love hearing what you're getting out of our show, so it really means the world. Thanks again for joining us.